What's up, guys? Today we're talking about Blink Twice. My name's Ed, this is Marissa, and this is Distant Critics. Now, we want to let you guys know that these are our opinions, and we might contain some spoilers in this review, so by all means, go ahead and check out that movie, then come back here. Let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments down below. Now, without further ado, Marissa, can you tell us about the plot?
When tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala, he invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island. As strange things start to happen, Frida questions her reality. So Blink Twice is a trigger warning psychological thriller. Trigger warning right in the beginning of the movie. It says it right there. Ed, I want to know, what are your thoughts on this movie?
So I promise I will get into the plot of this film and the storyline, but right now I just have to nerd out a little bit because the things that I noticed were really the technical side of how this movie was made. For me, it was a really fun psychological thriller that satisfied all the senses while you were watching it. The use of sound in this film was just phenomenal, and everything felt like it had intentional purpose to it. The crackling of the vape, the grinding of the pepper shaker, the fizzing of the champagne, all those small details really add to the experience. And then another thing that I noticed was the camera angles that they used, and a lot of the audience won't even realize it, but there are certain things and tricks that directors do to kind of trick the audience. And it could be like a slight turn of the camera or a distortion of it. Usually in films, a subject is kind of like on this side of the screen, but in this film, they purposely put them on the other side of the screen. And all those little things make you kind of feel like something is off here. Like you just don't realize it though, but as the movie is going on, that kind of adds to the plot as well. And then you have these close-up shots where most times that's there to convey emotion and stuff like that and really see someone's face. But when it lingers on too long on those shots, which they do in this film, it's really like you kind of get antsy with it, and you're just like, yo, like, back up. And that's what this film really does. All those small details really add to the story for me, and I have to give a lot of credit to the director, Zoe Kravitz, because this is her directorial debut, first ever movie she made, and she's taking on a big task with doing all these things. So for me, I really did enjoy those aspects to it.
Wow. What a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I told you I was gonna nerd out for a second, but a lot of technical things I really did like about this film.
I think you're absolutely right about the sounds in this movie, of how you can hear like the crackling of his vape and stuff like that. At first I was like, why are they doing that? Like, why? What's the reason for it? But then at the same time, it made me uncomfortable listening to that. Like, same thing with the zoom in emotions and stuff like that. It made me uncomfortable. Like, this movie made me uncomfy, and I don't know why it made me uncomfy, but I guess that's the whole point of a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
And trying to, figure out like what is happening, what's going on. And I think this movie really conveys that pretty well. Channing Tatum did really well in this movie as Slater King. At first, I didn't really like the actress for Frida because I thought her emotions and stuff were weird to me. But then later on, as we went down into the movie more, I was like, oh, like, she's actually supposed to be like that. Yes, it all made sense. Just a movie, like I said in the beginning, a trigger warning movie. So just make sure if you are about to watch this movie, pay attention to that and, kind of see. But this movie really came close to the Epstein stories and everything that he did, on the island. Ed, like, what do you think about that comparison?
No, I 100% agree. I really do think they took some inspiration from those stories that have came out about Epstein. We all know dude was a horrible man. And I think the film actually uses that um, to its advantage and makes the film feel really gross, which makes the audience really root for the main characters to be the underdogs of the story and fight back to, you know, what eventually we all kind of can see where this movie goes. And I'm right there with you with the character of Rita. In the beginning, I just wasn't really feeling her. I've seen her in other stuff like the Whitney Houston biopic, and I really liked her in that. And then for some reason, I was like, she just seems off in this film. But it all makes sense in the end, like you said. The twist I thought was really great. Tatum for me, he has very high highs, very low lows. And for me in this film, I thought this was a high for him. Like, he did really good in this role. There was that one scene towards the end where he just kept saying, I'm sorry, or he just kept saying that, right? Or was it forgive me? Something like that.
He said I'm sorry over and over.
And then he just like blank faces, like none of that even like happened. And it was like, oh, okay, like nah, this dude is really, he's committed to this role. So I thought both of them really added to their performances and made this film a lot better than what the stereotypical, we kind of all knew where the story was going to end.
Yeah, and lastly, one last thing about the trauma aspect of this and the message that it was trying to convey about us forgetting the truth. Almost, you know what I mean? Forgetting the truth.
That was actually pretty deep.
And how it's very deep, because a lot of people compartmentalize and a lot of people try to, you know, erase true trauma that has happened to them, right? Instead of facing it head on and stuff. So seeing that message and seeing how they were trying to erase their memory from the truth in order to protect them, but then they're hurting them at the same time. I think that was just kind of exceptional in a very hauntingly way, I guess you can say.
It takes that humanity aspect out of like what makes us us. At the same time, we want to feel great all the time, but there are times where we need that trauma within us. So you taking that aspect away, you're taking part of that person away and who they are and what shapes who they are. And I think that they really hit the nail on the hammer on the nail, whatever it is. I think they did a really good job conveying that message. I'll say it like that. But with all that being said, if you guys are new to the channel, we'd like to do this thing called movie streaming which is, do you think it's good for the movies? Would you wait to see it in streaming, or just you can skip this film? For me, I'm gonna say yes, go to the movies and see this film. I think the sound aspect alone, with the surround sound in the theaters, you'll definitely have a different experience than just waiting till it's streaming. So for me, yes, go see this in the movies.
Unless you have a huge TV or surround sound, I think you should go see this in the movies, because you really need to have that uncomfortable feeling in order to really feel what this movie's trying to convey. So the movies it is for me.
Yep. And we want to know what you guys have to say about this film. If you liked it, if you didn't, whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comments down below.
And if you have any other suggestions on any movies you want to see us review, please leave a comment down below so we can turn your idea into reality.
And thank you guys so much for joining us today on Distant Critics.
Thanks.
Peace.